most scientific articles, at least in the biomedical sciences, the most important positions are the first author or the primary author, and then the last author or the corresponding author, the senior author. The first author, this is the person that's actually day-to-day doing the most work. They're at the bench, say, doing the experiments. Often you're going to have a grad student or a postdoc, so a postdoctoral researcher, someone who has gotten their PhD from a different lab and now they're in this lab trying to get some more training and things. Now, in order to do all those experiments and to have some guidance in their experiments, they're going to need some mentorship. And so that mentorship is coming from that senior author, that last author. So the last author is the person whose lab the first author was actually doing the work in, typically. And this is sometimes called the corresponding author because that's the person who you send emails to if you have questions about the paper. Now, they might send the emails on to the first author or someone who was actually at the bench doing the experiments who knows more of the day-to-day details, but it's that corresponding author that is typically the one that you would then go email, and they're going to have their email listed. As for all the authors in the middle, well, there it depends. Sometimes it's just in alphabetical order, but typically what it's going to do is it's going to kind of go from the person who did the most work to the person who did the least work, and then the senior author, the corresponding author, the person whose lab it was. So the primary investigator, principal investigator, there's a lot of different words for this, but the person whose lab it is, basically, who's bringing in the grant money, who's driving the basic overall framework of the lab and offering mentorship. That's that last author. If you've got kind of two of those people, so say it's a collaboration between two labs, then the other senior author, the other kind of person whose lab someone was working in, would be second to last. If you got three, then it would be third to last. So sometimes it can be kind of hard to tell where you draw the line between the people who are at the bench doing the work and the people who are bringing in the grant money and driving things. But that's typically the order, is that you have the people who were kind of doing the work and then the people who are guiding the work and bringing in the funding. Sometimes you'll see co-first authors, and they'll have like little asterisks, and there'll be a little thing under, these authors contributed equally. You might have co-corresponding authors, and so sometimes at the bottom of the article, they'll have author contributions where you can find out that sort of information about who to contact for what. Sometimes things can get kind of nasty in very competitive labs and fields when people want to get first authorship, because then when people like cite the article, it'll be like first author et al, and that et al is abbreviating all the other people. Sometimes what you'll see is people do the first author ... the last author, and then the year or the paper or whatever in their citations on slides and things, and that way people know whose lab it was, not just who was the first author.